Hallelujah, Yahweh. Praise YAHWEH. In the name of the Son, the mighty God, YAHWEH, Bet Nun Safit YAHWEH. Selah. Welcome to Black Gods of Yahweh Media. Today, we're going to get into this Supreme Court hearing involving the use of the N-word in the workplace. And I'm going to show how this really affects the mindset of our enemy and what the playbook is. What your future would be without Yahweh. When he sent his son Yahweh ben Yahweh to deliver true Israel, Black Judah, and return the promise of salvation to us if we turn to him and his laws, then a lot of things that your enemy is trying to do today, it would happen in the near future. So here we have this story about Amy Coney Barrett, who spoke at a Supreme Court ruling. And what she is trying to do, and it's not just her, it's a total system setup by your oppressor, attempting to demonstrate that the use of the N-word is not hostile in the workplace. You can see this. We're going to read a little bit before I get into my commentary. A Facebook post says Amy Coney Barrett said calling a black employee the N-word does not make for a hostile work environment. You can actually go here and read it. Here's why. In the midst of Amy Coney Barrett's Supreme Court confirmation hearings, users on social media sharing a support quote from the judge, a supposed quote from the judge, claiming she once said that calling a black employee the N-word does not make for a hostile work environment. Barrett did not outright declare that being called the racial slur does not ever constitute a hostile work environment, but she did write in an opinion that one plaintiff who was called the racial epithet by a former supervisor was not sufficient evidence to support their claim of a hostile work environment. So basically, this is the prelims of the beginning stage of another movement to your re-enslavement. And this is what your enemy is actually trying to do. Now, you have to piece the puzzle together. You look at the modern police force. They're turning into slave patrols. Again, which the origin of the police force is slave patrols. You can look at the NYPD police badge, and when you zoom in it up close, you will see a slave master holding a whip. So when you guys get a chance, just check that out. I did a video about gentrification, that's moving black people out of the urban areas, being economically restricted and pushed out for other nationalities and Europeans to move in. You look at the 80s and the 90s with historical black colleges and its decline, and that's directly the fault of us. You look at entertainment industries like Motown, BET, Rockefeller, all been sold to the enemy and to other races of people. Integration, that was the handing over of black human resource and economic resource to the enemy, to the white man. Why is it that my people don't know this? Why can't they see this? Well, let's go find out. Let's find out. Let's see. We're going to go to Isaiah 1 and 3. It says, the ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel doth not know, my people doth not consider. True Israel, black Judah, they don't know. They don't have the common sense. An ass and an ox is smarter than them. That's why they can't see this. These steps that white supremacy is moving in to re-enslave you is quite obvious. You know, during the 50s all the way up to the 80s and the 90s, abortion, you still got that going on strong. Prison industrial complex, you had the crack epidemic. And those tools were used to kill, just to destroy you, to weed out your numbers. So they just said, well, we can't kill them, not all of them, so we're just going to try and re-enslave them. You see that's happening today. They want to make it to where you're working in an environment and they can just straight up call you a nigger and nothing's going to happen to them. You have to look at these steps. You see it in policing. Now you're seeing them. Words are powerful. And when you can go into an environment where one specific group of people can be called a racial slur, an ugly, derogatory name, and get away with it. What's happening is the move to completely marginalize you to a non-human state. Once again, the absorbing of the wealth, business, and industry of so-called black Americans, gentrification, like I once said already, I did a video about that. Abortion, using drugs in the inner city, all of these things are made to destroy you. And what happened is that history will repeat itself if you don't learn from it. We have remained stagnant and dependent on the same people that's enslaved us. So history is going to repeat itself and they're going to try to enslave you again. I'm going to say that again. History will repeat itself if you don't learn from it. That's us. Making ourselves dependent and remaining stagnant on the same people that enslaved you, they're going to try to enslave you again. But there's good news, of course. We have Yahweh on our side for those that have turned to him and to his laws. But that's what the enemy is trying to do. Because true Judah, an ass and an ox is smarter than them. They don't see this. Only someone who has turned their life around into this knowledge of Yahweh can see this. That's the reason why many of us are being executed in these streets, because we don't have that protection. We have not turned back to the laws of our good, great, and terrible black God, Yahweh. So I just wanted to put this video out because I have some people that watch my YouTube channel that's not necessarily in the truth. And because my people are not smarter than an ox and an ass, I have to break down these steps that your enemy is trying to do. This is our fault because we have allowed ourselves to be vulnerable to the same people that has caused our apartheid, that have for generations and hundreds of years destroyed us. The true Holocaust was here. And because we can't see these steps and we have trust and we believe in our enemy, go back and watch the video I have about black people, the white man is your God if. A very important video. So when I saw this article and actually first peeped it on my YouTube timeline, I had to break this down because they are definitely trying to make a play where they can just call you a racial epithet in the workplace and get away with it. Once that happens, then you know you're in slavery again. We don't build nothing economically. We're not self-sufficient. We depend on our enemy. So they're just going to start calling you a nigger. And next is, well, we're just not going to pay them the same wages. Well, you know what? We're just not going to do anything for them again. I mean, we're going to call them the N-word. We're going to move them out of the inner city. We're going to continue to take from them. All they're going to do is pray to white Jesus and cry. Excuse me. That tends to happen sometimes. I'm not going to redo this video. I'm going to keep the same video. So with that being said, I thought that I would offer my analysis of this particular article and how it ties into what's going on today. This is Black Gods of Yahweh Media. I want to say peace and shalom until the next video.